For those who prefer Linux or are simply curious about Linux and other open source technologies, this is Category 5 Technology TV. Broadcasting from Barrie, Ontario, Canada, get ready for a unique and interactive viewing experience. Have a question? Call 2545-CAT5TV or email live at category5.tv. And now, here's your host, Robbie Ferguson.
Welcome to episode number 260 of Category 5 Technology TV. Nice to see you.
Welcome, everyone, worldwide.
There we go. We got somebody else causing us feedback tonight. That's all good. That's all good. September 11th tonight, 2012. Nice to see you. We've got a very exciting show in store for you tonight, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing. We're going to be talking about our 5th anniversary party that's coming up.
Yeah, lots going on.
We have a video encoder for Linux that we're going to be looking at to convert your files for all of your different devices. Also, we're going to be taking a look at Google Maps and the reliability thereof.
Oh boy. This is going to be an interesting little story. I can feel it in my bones.
And Hillary, how are you?
I'm here and I'm married. I did it, people. That's why I've been a little MIA as of late, but I'm back. Hitch.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's married life.
It's
Here you
great.
go. It's just
Pretty
another
rad.
part of the adventure.
Step 2.
Having fun so far?
It's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Curtis is a great guy.
I'm in love.
We're going to talk about it a little bit later, but it was a privilege to be at your wedding. Thank you so much for having us. Beautiful,
pleasure.
most beautiful wedding that I'd ever been to.
I'm blushing.
We're going to
Stop.
talk all about it.
Stop it.
Like I say, tonight we've got lots going on. We're going to be talking to John Cabrera, who joins us from Los Angeles, California. We're going to be talking about his new series, H+, which is available on YouTube. It is phenomenal, awesome production, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to be talking also about what's kind of going on with this whole trend of here you are, sitting at home watching a television show on your computer, on your device, but not through the old sense of how it used to be done. We do things a lot differently these days. High-speed internet and the technology that's attributed to that and built for that has really been changing things. So we're going to talk about that with John as well. So, hey, join us in the chat room. John is there with us, and we're going to be, he'll actually be able to see your questions there in the chat room.
True.
So I'll let you, we're going to jump kind of right into that, sort of change the order of the show tonight. So we're going to be talking to John first and foremost. But first of all, we'll find out what's coming up in the news, and then we're going to talk about, or bring up your viewer questions after probably the halfway point tonight.
This week's major news topics as pertaining to the world of technology. Dun, da, da, da. Ubuntu Live CDs are no more in favor of USB or DVD media. A Bitcoin theft could mean the demise of Bitfloor. An Arizona hacker who sold access to his botnet has been jailed. And oh, this is interesting. Toys R Us is bringing out its own Android tablet. And lastly, Google is responding to YouTube being pulled from iOS's list of pre-installed applications. So stick around because these stories are coming up later in our show.
Thanks, Hal.
No problem.
We're going to take a look at a trailer for the show called H+, which is available for you to watch on YouTube. We've got a really easy, quick link for you if you go to cat5.tv/H+, and that's spelled out Plus. That's a quick link to get you there. Of course, you have to wait until after this show. But of course, that will get you there. So stick around. We're going to talk to John Cabrera, one of the writers and creators of H+, right after this trailer. Join us in the chat room, category5.tv, Category 5 on Freenode.
Are you ready to connect to the world? Introducing H+. Information delivered directly to you 24/7, where you become the connection. H+. Tap in and can connect to your future.
You're a software superstar. Single-handedly changed the way people access the internet.
Are you offering me a job?
I'm offering you a chance to change the world again. The doctor was clear about H+. The implant.
It's an amazing technology.
I can use H+ to communicate with other people. Can they know what I'm thinking?
was surprised when you messaged.
Did you know who I was?
Yes, I see your updates all the time. Wow, it's amazing.
But there's a giant invisible hand that's gripping all of this very tightly.
We're joined tonight by John Cabrera, one of the writers and creators of H+. John, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
John, of course, you may recognize his face if you had ever watched an episode of Gilmore Girls. Spent, I think, a good 31 episodes as Brian Fuller on the Gilmore Girls. And now is creating H+. So how do you go from acting on a show like Gilmore Girls, which I understand kind of came about in a way that, you started out and didn't realize how long you were going to be on the show for, and all of a sudden here you are as a regular on the show. Once that came to a stop, where did you go from there?
Well, I think that I'd always been sort of on a path towards eventually being on the other side of the camera. I went to school for acting. That was what I majored in, and graduated from DePaul University, which is a big acting conservatory, with the expectation that I would kind of go out either to New York or Los Angeles and start working as an actor. But I think I always sort of knew that eventually that was going to transition into what I really wanted to be doing, which was writing and directing. It's true, when I began my stint, it was a stint, on Gilmore Girls early on. I really didn't know how long it was going to last. I assumed it was going to be about an episode or two, and 5 years later, about 32 episodes later, I was sort of a member of the cast of that show. And while I was on the show, I was also seeing like I was the most financially secure that I'd ever been, and it was like the perfect time to begin experimenting with what I really wanted to be doing. So it was actually during the show that I started writing, directing, buying cameras and software, and doing all kinds of homebrew style filmmaking. And in the last year of the show is when I actually began working on H+, when I first started to develop it with Cosimo. It was in 2006, actually.
So how did that really come about? I mean, H+ is obviously a very well produced Warner Digital production, and I'm interested to know, with this kind of transition in technology to here you are, a web-based kind of television program that's produced by Warner Digital. How do you get from that point where it's just an idea and all of a sudden here you are and you're getting a massive response on YouTube?
Well, here you are is 6 years later, if that gives you any idea of how long that can take, and how that the answer to that question changes throughout those 6 years. Where the internet was 6 years ago and where it is now, it's just like night and day. Yeah, especially in regards to entertainment on the web. When we first started the project, it was just an idea. It was just, it started off with this kernel of an idea, a world connected, so tightly connected, through this a technology that we really have today. I mean, the big difference between the technology in the series and the technology that we have with our iPhones and Androids is really that, it's inside our body in the series, and right now it's in our pockets. But we live in a world where we're connected 24 hours a day, and we were really interested in exploring that. And so we did. We took this idea of a world connected, through their nervous system. Something happens, and we wanted to explore how different people around the world would be affected by that. So we just started coming up with characters and scenarios, and for about a year, that's all we really did. We didn't even really write a story. We just sort of were building this world. And once we had a big enough world, then we started sharing it with people, and we still didn't really know what it was. We didn't know if it was a television show, if it was a movie, web, what. Yeah. and we shared it with a lot of people. Everyone we shared it with was really excited about it. And we sat down with Brian Singer and his folks over at Bad Hat Harry. They thought it was great. Very, it was something that they hadn't really seen before because they had been really working in television and film, and even at the beginning, what we pitched to them was a very non-linear story told out of order in small vignette slices, and they loved it. But they were like, "This is." I don't know if this is television,
right.
And it was fortuitous in the sense that they really wanted to get on. They wanted to start exploring the internet space. So they said, let's see, if perhaps there's an internet show in this. And we shared it with Warner Digital, and they loved it. It was perfect for what they wanted to be doing in the space, and so then. That we sold the project to them. We sold the idea to them, really, and they hired us as writers. And we spent the next 4 years writing it there.
Wow.
So we hadn't even written a word of the series before. So, and we wrote it as a web series. We we never thought of it as anything. As soon as we started writing it, it was a project for the web for 4 years, and we had to watch as trends were changing, and we had to
adjust. The actual technologies that surround broadcasting on the web have changed so incredibly substantially over the course of that time.
I mean, it's interesting because the series is about technology, right? So, on the one hand, we were worried that the technology was accelerating so fast that we wouldn't be able to catch up creatively.
You probably figured Apple was actually going to have these implants.
Yeah, like a lot of, right. I mean, we were worried that a lot of things would become passé, and we did have to start thinking, about stuff like augmented reality later in the game, where our head wasn't in augmented reality earlier on, back like 2007. And then, yes, as you're saying, also on the actual distribution side, the technology was going so fast that we also had to think format wise, how is this going to work? We saw people. I mean, when we first pitched the idea, we pitched this project as a story of small pieces, these small moments in time, these little puzzle pieces that audiences would have the chance to sort of put together. And back in 2006, 2007, that really made sense, right? And then over the course of these 6 years, we saw something very, very big happen, which was suddenly everyone is watching hour-long shows on their laptop, something that you wouldn't have really seen as much of back in 2004, 2005, 2006, right? And so then that became sort of an obstacle, like, okay, well, we've conceived this series. This is what we want this series to be. Will audiences be accepting of that now that audience tolerance for how long they can watch a piece of content has grown? And these discussions, they continue to happen, and it's scary, but it's also really exciting. It's a really exciting place to be right now, is to be telling stories on the internet.
It's almost like being a trendsetter in a way.
Yeah.
Really kind of being at the forefront of this emerging transition from, let's say, cable TV and satellite TV to really YouTube and Netflix and other technologies that allow you to receive broadcasting through your computer connection is becoming. That's our entertainment source.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we're a testimony to that right here at Category 5. Like that's what we do. Hillary, you had some questions for John, I'm sure.
I'm like,
I see you're
really,
viciously writing things down here.
Checking my notes. I'm just really intrigued by the whole concept. I think it's fascinating. I'm hooked. I'm like, what comes next? Do you ever think that perhaps your segments, are you all done shooting for this season, and will it go beyond one season perhaps, or extend past the 5 to 7 minute mark now that you can have longer clips on YouTube, for instance?
Yeah, I know that's been the big question that everyone's been having is the length, right? So I spoke a little bit to this idea that first of all, I want to dispel the myth that this was somehow written as something that was linear, and we decided to sort of mix it up and chop it up and throw it out in these small little portions in order to gain views. I'm absolutely honest when I say it was conceived in this format back in 2006. That said, I totally get it. I understand, the frustrations that people are having with it. And I think that it speaks to people really loving what they're seeing and wanting more of it. to answer your question, 48 episodes are going to be released over the course of the next 5 months, and they've been produced, they've been edited, they're done. We could certainly put them together, right? We could take 2 of them and edit them together, but there's really not much difference between that and doing it yourself, right? Because you can put them together in playlists, and that was a big part of what we wanted to do from the very beginning. And it would be, I guess, it would be a bit unfair to our original vision for this if we then just kind of go back into post and just essentially link a bunch of things together because people want the content, in one piece. What they can't be is re-edited into a longer piece. I mean, they were written this way, and that's sort of. That's sort of where they have to lie in this particular iteration of the story. That said, absolutely, things can change. I mean, that's one of the really exciting things about online content is that you would never be able to have direct dialogue with a creator of a television show, right? And yet I'm in the comments in YouTube, I'm talking to people every day. I respond to questions, and I'm listening, and I want the show to be as great as it can be. Yes, we will be. My hope is that we go into production on a season 2. We're definitely going to be writing a season 2. That I can say for sure. And that conversation length is going to be a conversation for sure within the creative team as well as at Warner Brothers. And it's because we've heard how people feel about the length. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to compromise the essence of what the series is, which is not television, right? That's something that if this series was picked up for television, we would have to reconceive the way that this story was told, because television and the internet, or at least television style content, hour-long episodic content, which yes, we're seeing more of that on the internet as well, Netflix, Hulu, but that's really just an extension of television, right? If we want to create something that is distinctly different from television, which I really do believe YouTube right now really has the only ability to do, because it has these really interactive components like playlists and whatnot, then we do have to think out of the box. And to a degree, I think that the audience too needs to think out of the box on some of this stuff.
And we're doing something very, very different, and seeing something very different with H+, which is it's intriguing in that it's so different from sitting down in front of a TV and watching that half-hour episode that has 10 minutes worth of commercials, and that makes me wonder, because you're producing these shorter clips that don't have any commercials in them, in the traditional sense, where does financing come from for a project like this?
Well, the series is ad-supported. I don't really know exactly how, what the ad settings are currently with the series, but I've certainly seen ads.
Oh, okay.
The pieces are designed to. I believe that they're set so that if you watched 4 of them in a row, you wouldn't be watching a commercial during each one.
Okay.
So I think that's also been a complaint that I've heard, is that we're forcing people to watch a commercial every time they watch one of these videos. I don't believe that that's actually the case. But still, yes, you're right. There's not really a lot of advertising that people are being asked to watch compared to what we had to sort of put in to create this level of quality. And that really speaks more to the fact that at this stage, Warner Brothers, Sony, all of the studios that are getting into developing content on the internet, they're doing it knowing that they're experimenting right now, and that they're putting a lot of their money in to figure out how this space works. And I think that's admirable. I think that's a really exciting thing, is that we're getting these big players who have the money and the know-how to create really great content on the internet, also willing to go in and say, look, we don't know how this works exactly. We want to understand. We want to learn from the audience. We want to know what kind of content works best for them, and they're willing to risk a large sum of money in order to experiment in that way. The YouTube partnership, the H Plus is a YouTube channel, so that is part of the sort of financing model. The hope is that over the next few years, all of the money that's sloshing around on the internet right now starts focusing its way into some of this premium content that's being created, and Warner and certainly H Plus as one of those pieces of content wants to be there when that happens.
Absolutely. You're watching Category 5 Technology TV, and we're talking with John Cabrera, who joins us from Los Angeles, and we're talking about his series H+, which is available on YouTube. We have a quick link for you, which you can see at the bottom of your screen there, cat5.tv/H+. It's youtube.com/H+ digital series. You have any other questions for John or anything coming in the chat room?
Monitoring the chat room, but I haven't.
John, one question that I have for you, as you're, really full force at the front end of this real digital trend and transition in entertainment. I know it's kind of a goofy question in a way, but with our show, Category 5 TV, sometimes there's still a little bit of a stigma around internet-based. Anything that's internet-based doesn't have the same level of, at least in some people's eyes, the same level of, I don't know if it's...
support?
Yeah, like when you say, I have a TV show and it's internet-based, do you in your circles find that you're having to explain to producers and directors and actors what it is?
Listen to the name of our series, H+, the digital series, right? Notice we try our best to stay away from the word web series, right? Because web series comes with a stigma, definitely. But it's a web series, that's the truth. I think what's going to happen, whether it's web series, whether another trend, another term comes up to replace it, is just eventually great content's going to be on the internet, and then people will think that that's cool. Back in the early 90s and the 80s, television and film, there was this huge divide in quality between television and film. So much so that, it was, for actors, it was like, doing a feature film was, what you aspired to, and you use television as a means to an end, meaning that no actors really wanted to be doing television, right? Fast forward to today, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, all of these really great shows on television, and you have these huge actors that a decade ago would never have ever done television are starring in these shows. So the perception can change, and that's going to happen with the internet. In 10 years, people are going to look at the internet in the exact same way, and it's just going to be quality that's going to be the big factor. And also, more than quality, it's going to be the hardware, right? The more people start getting these smart TVs into their homes that allow them to watch YouTube exactly the same way that they watch, all of their favorite shows on TV, Game of Thrones, whatever, right? Then it's the line is going to be blurred, right? In the same way that the line is now blurred between great film and great television. Right. And so, I think that the danger is that people start to use television or film as as basically the mark for what quality means on the internet, and that's what we've been trying to avoid, right? Avoid that people see this content and they say, wow, why isn't that a movie? Or wow, why isn't that on television? And it's because it just isn't supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a web series, Why isn't it an hour long? It's it's a different format, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is that hour long, just an hour long piece of content now is sort of what it means to be quality. And I think that will change, and I hope that changes, because there are a lot of really fantastic formats, artistic formats, literary formats that are a variety of lengths, that we've been sort of stuck with these two, the half hour and the hour long, as the only option that we really have for great storytelling. I think it's a shame.
Absolutely. And I think it's you should be commended for what you're doing with H Plus and the whole production team. I mean, fantastic crew that you've got, and the actors are doing a fantastic job. I mean, I know that from your perspective, it's all done and season 1's in the can. But from our perspective, watching the show as it's released, it's amazing to see this type of quality on YouTube.
Well, I should say it's not all done, right?
Okay.
The series, the 48 episodes, they are done. Mm-hmm. However, there's a whole separate component to this series that lives off of the YouTube channel. At our main site, hplusdigitalseries.com, we have all of these other interactive components. We have this interactive map that allows you to explore the world of H Plus and see where episodes actually lie, both in time and in place. And each one of those episodes comes with an extra piece of ancillary content that gives you more insight into the world of H Plus. Photos, videos, texts, articles, etc. And that stuff is being created by us. That's still being created as we go. And we're creating as much of it as there is a demand for it. And a lot of that stuff is helping to fill in the gaps. Yeah. The story was written with purposeful gaps in time for audience to sort of, we always say that, like, all of the characters in this series have these secrets, right? And the audience, the part of the fun of the show is that the audience is challenged to sort of uncover the secrets of all of these characters. Okay. But time is also a character in this series, right? And time also has its set of secrets, and they lie in these gaps of time that we are never going to show you in this first 48. Maybe we'll show you in another season, I don't know, but those secrets are also there for you to unlock. Those secrets are part, I think, part of the fun of a show like this, and they live, like I said, they live outside of the YouTube channel, and we're still making them. And that's part of this interaction between the fans and the creators, and something, like I said, that you wouldn't really see on television. And it's I think it's it's fun. It's fun for us, so I think that we're hoping that it's as fun for the audience.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things now, because you're not on traditional television, you like we have said, and you've kind of broken those shackles, the holds of certain requirements of being on TV. But the other concern that some may have is with regards to rating systems. With your show, is there a rating, or is there something that do you say, is it equivalent to, say, 14 plus, or where does H plus fall as far as that's concerned?
Well, I think that I don't know for sure, but sure. I know that H plus was rated by whatever system Warner Brothers goes through in rating things, and that everyone was very happy about the rating. I have to be honest with you, I don't even really remember what it was, but if they were all happy, then it must have been a rating that was below R or whatnot. Sure. I don't think that there's a lot in the series that would really garner it a really poor rating, but I also think that YouTube, could be wrong, I think YouTube has its own set of ratings, or has a way of blocking content that is too extreme or whatnot. So we should expect as viewers that there is violence and there is a little bit of swearing in H plus as well. So do be mindful of that if you're sitting down in front of it with your kids. Yes, there is some, not a lot, but there is some.
Mm-hmm. Well, John, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I would just like to know, as we close off the interview, where do you see H Plus going from here?
Well,
that's a big question, I know. I mean, let me
ask you, do you mean story-wise, or do you mean just as a project on a whole?
Well, kind of, sort of. I wouldn't mind knowing a little bit.
What happens?
Yeah, what's going to happen next?
Really? you like being spoiled, huh?
Spoiler alert.
Keep it.
Well, I will say this: the first third of the series is people think that it's non-linear. The way what they've seen so far is non-linear. The first part of the series is the most linear, right? We've got an entire storyline that takes place in the parking lot that is somewhat in a linear progression, and the same with the other 4 storylines. They sort of move in a linear progression. After the first third, things start to really like spread out. We start visiting a lot of different locations around the world, which is really exciting. But it starts to become a much more of a scavenger hunt for the audiences to piece these things together. And I hope that the audiences get excited about that, as excited as we were when we wrote it. We'll learn a lot more about Kenneth and what he was doing there in the parking lot, and we'll get to know a lot more of these characters and how these 4 storylines that seem very they seem very separate, in this first first part of the story. We'll start to learn how some of these characters are connected directly and indirectly. Connected
in such a way. Very cool, John. Wow. Well, keep up the great work, and kudos to you and your team. And we look forward to what's to come from H+. You can find H+ at youtube.com/H+ digital series. We've got the quick link down at the bottom right of your screen as well, just to get you there real fast. John, been a pleasure having you here. Thanks for being on Category 5 tonight, and we'll look forward to what's to come.
It was my pleasure. Thanks.
Care. Bye.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson.
I'm Hillary Rumble.
And it is time to jump right into the news.
Okie doodle, people. I know you're dying to know what's happening in the world of tech, so here it is, coming at ya. October's release of Ubuntu 12.10 will increase the maximum size of its disk image from 700 megabytes to 800 megabytes, therefore making it too big to fit onto a traditional CDR media. The news came from Canonical's Kate Stewarton, the Ubuntu mailing list, who wrote, "There is no longer a traditional CD-sized image, DVD, or alternate image, but rather a single 800 megabyte Ubuntu image that can be used from USB or DVD. Ubuntu server remains unaffected by the switch." One of the biggest Bitcoin currency exchanges has been taken offline after 24,000 units, about $250,000 or 157,000 pounds, roughly, of the virtual currency that were stolen from its computer servers. Bitcoins can be used for online money transfers and trades, and the currency uses cryptography to protect it. But Bitfloor's founder, Roman, I don't know how to say his last name.
I think it's Steilman.
Steilman?
Yeah.
Roman Steilman said he had kept unencrypted keys, which the thief accessed and used to take the money. He said his New York-based service was the biggest of its kind in the U.S. and the 4th largest in the world. But Bitfloor's future is now in doubt. A U.S. hacker who sold access to thousands of hijacked homes' computers has been jailed for 30 months. He was sentenced for renting out more than 72,000 PCs that he had taken over using computer viruses. Millions of PCs are enrolled in these networks known as botnets, and many help to send out those nasty junk mail messages. Oh no.
Tell? Is it Tell?
Customers.
It is. I think that's these names.
Tell.
It's like Tell.
I'm sorry. I need like a pronunciation guide. Customers installed their own malicious software on the PCs to aid their own cybercrime efforts. As well as going to prison for 30 months, Tell was also sentenced to a 3-year supervised release program that he will serve after leaving jail. The supervision will tightly control his access to computers and the net. Rightfully so, I'd say.
Yeah. You know what a botnet is?
No, but it sounds crazy.
Yeah. It's like when you get a virus and your computer becomes a part of this super network of virus-infected computers. So when it says that those are sending out spam, it's like all of these computers become one supercomputer.
Oh,
it's like the folding at home thing.
Frightening.
When it's, that's being used for good. And that's something that you opt into. But these are things like that you don't opt into, and you're sharing your resources. So when you're not at your computer is still working, but it's doing malicious things.
That is lurky. Bad computer. Bad.
Trojans. Bad.
In a bid to battle the showrooming phenomenon that is hurting big box retailers, Toys R Us said yesterday that it will start selling its own proprietary tablet designed for children. The $149.99 Tabio will be available only at Toys R Us, so shoppers won't be able to try it out in a store and then purchase it for less on a rival retailer's website. The tablet goes on sale October 21st, and pre-orders are now available online at toysrus.com. The Toys R Us tablet, which is powered by Android, comes preloaded with 50 free games and apps, including popular titles such as Angry Birds, and the retailer has developed its own app store with around 7,000 titles. Very cool.
That's cool. I can understand why they would want to do that, because it's so true. These days, you walk into a store, you pick up the tablet, you play with it, find out if you want it, and then you go order it off of a website because you can get it cheaper.
It's true.
So that would be really frustrating for the retailers, because they're the ones who now can't sell that device because it's out of box and it's used, technically. So they're the ones that are out. But do kids really need tablets?
No, I think it's brilliant.
I think that's a good idea.
Catering to children. Once you get kids, you got parents.
I got to admit, my kids do love playing games on the iPod or whatever on the tablet. But, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Our last story of the evening. YouTube is being reprogrammed for the iPhone and iPad amid the latest fallout between the growing hostility between Google and Apple. The changes are being made because of the companies didn't renew a 5-year licensing agreement that established YouTube's video service as one of the built-in applications in iOS. YouTube is being bumped from the menu of pre-installed apps on the next version of iOS, which could be released as early as tomorrow, when the latest iPhone is expected to be unveiled. Google is making a preemptive strike today with the release of a revamped YouTube app, designed to make it easy as possible for Apple device owners to continue watching clips from the world's most popular video site. You can get these full stories online at category5.tv/newsroom. The newsroom is researched by Roy W. Nash with contributions from our fabulous community of viewers. If you have a story you think's worthy of on-air mention, send us an email at newsroom@category5.tv. For the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Hillary Rumble.
Thanks, Hill. Tonight's show is brought to you in part by Cordery Electric. They're the official electrical company of Category 5 Technology TV, and you'll find them online at www.corderyelectric.com. And get your free trial of Netflix. It's a 1-month trial. You can give it a try for free. cat5.tv/Netflix. Do check that out. Hillary, we've got to take a real quick break. We're going to be right back. We're talking about Google Maps. We're going to be talking. I'm going to be showing you a video encoder for your Linux system in just a couple moments' time. And we open up the chat room as well. Get your questions in via the chat room. Category 5 on Freenode. We'd love to hear from you if you've got a question. Hillary's watching the chat room for you now. So we'll be right back after this.
At Eco Alkalines, we believe you should be able to trust your batteries not just here, but here, here, and here. But with one exception, you should also be able to trust your batteries here. Eco Alkalines are the world's first and only certified carbon-neutral battery manufactured to the highest standards of recycling and quality, without any trace amounts of harmful chemicals like mercury, lead, or cadmium. Eco Alkalines provide performance that rivals leading national alkaline battery brands at a comparable price. Find out more about the Eco Alkalines difference. EcoAlkalines.com.
Are you in or near Barrie, Ontario, or feel like making the journey? Meet the on-air crew of Category 5 Technology TV in person on Tuesday, September 25th, as we celebrate 5 years of bringing you free technology TV. The live show will be held at Barrie Free Methodist Church on Cundles Road East in Barrie, and admission is absolutely free. There will be prizes during the show for those who attend, as well as a meet and greet following the live broadcast. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and we hope to see you there. Don't miss this time of celebration with the on-air crew from Category 5 Technology TV, both past and present. Tuesday, September 25th at 6:30 p.m. For more details, visit category5.tv.
Category5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. And the International Association of Internet Broadcasters.
Thanks, Hill.
No problem.
We've got some viewer questions. I see some questions coming in the chat room.
Oh, yes.
Before we get into that, though, our 5th anniversary, as you saw there, is coming up.
Ooh.
Let's talk prizes.
Let's talk party.
Hillary, you can see the awesome gift basket there from LEI Electronics Inc.
Ooh.
We've got batteries from Eco Alkalines. We've got Bag to Nature.
I win that?
Yeah, well, we'll just kind of slip a couple of extra names in there. Hillary Rumble from the stage.
Keep going.
That would be kind of obvious.
So what?
Rigged.
I want it.
Rigged.
Keep going. There's tons of stuff in there.
Okay, there's tons of stuff. There's a free play rechargeable flashlight. That's just what I can see from here, but it's worth well over $100. Also, we're giving away an assortment of Magic Jack Pluses. We're going to be giving away full 1-year service so that you don't have to pay for long distance anymore for the next year. We're going to be giving those away to our studio audience. So make sure you come to Barrie. Visit with us, meet Hillary and myself and the rest of the crew. Also, we've got some Thermaltake stuff on its way. We'll let you know exactly what we're looking at, but we're doing our best to see that we can get something really awesome from Thermaltake to give you. But one of the things, I was talking to Eco Alkalines, one of our friends over there, Lionel, and we were talking about how we've got this awesome event. We've got our 5th anniversary show. Lots of people are going to be there live in the studio or in the auditorium and enjoying the show. So we've got lots of great prizes. But what do we do for you who possibly, maybe you're
at home,
from somewhere around the world?
Around
Pardon me.
the big old world.
Where's everybody from tonight? What are you going to do? Because how can I possibly give it to you if you can't get here? Now, of course, you can fly in.
You could.
But
you can bunk at my house if you want.
In the course of our conversation here, it was decided that we are going to send out not just a year supply of Eco Alkalines batteries to you, those of you who can't make it live in person, but we are going to give out a second year supply. So I'm talking 2 lucky winners are going to go home, they're going to be at home.
You're going to receive special parcel.
A year supply of Eco Alkalines batteries, which are like AA 9-volt C batteries. You get to choose what you want.
Wow.
AAA.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
So
but for those of you who can get here now, Valpen 1 is in Sweden.
Bit of a hike.
A bit tough to get here.
If you leave now, you might be able to make it.
Domsnet is also from Los Angeles. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, guest 61527. Nice to see ya. We've got people from all over the world tonight. You can find out where everybody's watching from by going to map.cat5.tv. Pretty cool
stuff.
Very
cool. Well, we got lots of people in the chat room, people asking questions that's buzzing about, which is what we like. Quick shout out to Alex, first time viewer and first
Alex.
time in the chat room. So
thanks
for joining us. And we have a question here from Toby.
Hey, Toby.
Quickly, what are the signs of a CMOS battery running out of mojo?
Your CMOS, the Central Memory Operating System. This is a little battery that looks like a quarter that sits on your motherboard in your computer. And I've actually had computers come into the shop where they say, nothing's working. What's going on? And they think it's going to be a big, expensive fix. It actually happened to my brother, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
He had a RAID 0 in his computer. The battery had died. The battery stores all of your hardware information and your clock. So if that battery dies, all of a sudden your computer forgets the hardware information. So my brother, who is a professional animator, do check out his shows. I'll post links in the show notes for episode number 260. But he brought it in because he had thought that his hard drives had completely crashed because the BIOS, Toby, had forgotten about his hard drives.
Oh.
He tried to detect them, but it was a RAID 0, and he was trying to detect them as individual drives. So that's one symptom. Of course, you're going to lose your clock, so that means if you do any kind of bookkeeping and stuff, it's going to make your database out of whack. So be very, very careful if your battery's low. Symptoms, essentially, if your clock is losing time, if there are some kind of weird issues, and usually if you reboot the computer, do a hard boot, turn it off, turn it back on again, it should give you a warning that the CMOS battery is low. If in doubt, turn it off and unplug it so that there's no power to the computer. Let it sit for overnight. Plug it in, turn it on, and see what happens. The battery's like $3. So my brother, who thought he was going to have a $300
major thing,
huge major expense to fix this computer, devastation. Popped out the old battery, stuck in a new one, didn't initialize, but reset up the RAID so that the BIOS knew where his hard drives were and how they were supposed to be configured. Fired it up, good to go. They last for like 10 years though, so you never
that's pretty good.
expect.
You wouldn't anticipate that that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that said, it could have been sitting on a shelf for 5 years before you got it.
True say.
Or maybe for some reason your computer was unplugged for a while and so used up your battery.
Well, there you have it.
The batteries do not hold the data. The batteries keep a charge to the chips, the CMOS, the Central Memory Operating System chip. That needs a little bit of power just to hold that information. As soon as it loses power, forgets everything. Goes back to defaults.
Silly.
Yeah, so then you can't turn on your computer because it doesn't know where your stuff is.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Now you know.
Good question.
Hillary, your wedding, as I said at the top of the show, was positively beautiful. There's our
That's
lovely
me.
invitation.
There
There she
I am.
is. But I gotta say, I trusted Google Maps
Don't we
to
all?
get me there. I trusted Google Maps. Notice the past tense.
Yeah, I was picking up on that.
Yeah. Saturday, the 25th of August, 2012, at the Camp of the Deaf, pardon me.
Deaf. Not
The Camp of the Deaf, Parry Sound, Ontario. Beautiful place, as I found. I went to Google and I printed a map and instructions, and I put in Camp of the Deaf.
Makes sense.
Hillary Rumble, is that close to where the Camp of the Deaf is?
Well, this here takes you about half hour the other north past it.
Precisely.
Kind of the way. I don't even know where this would have pinpointed you.
That put us, we were on the very main drag, James Street, 74 James Street.
We're at the Bargain Barn or something.
Exactly.
Well, that is wrong. What a farce.
So I was
I
infuriated at Google and stormed your wedding halfway through. Actually, we kind of tiptoed in.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
But
so I did want to apologize for our tardiness.
That's okay.
We left with such good time, and we were going to make it. And Google Maps, seriously, folks, let us down so bad. I've never, ever had that happen. I've heard it that it happens
to me all the time.
I've had it send me, a couple blocks away, or given me, a direction that took a little bit longer than it should have. But to put me in entirely the wrong region of Ontario
is very bogus.
Is crazy. So.
Wow.
So, a call to you viewers to look around, and we're going to do a little bit of a roundup over the next week or two, and we're going to find what kind of deals we can find on GPS systems that would replace the need for Google Maps. So, I have heard that you can get them really, really cheap these days. Which might actually get us...
We like cheap?
Yeah. Like, is $35 a possibility? If anyone can find a GPS that works for $35, we're going to punch in.
Good.
That's going to be our test.
Okay.
Camp of
if
the
you can
Deaf.
find the camp, then it is kind of a bizarre place. I do admit it's kind of like in the woods.
When you know where it is, though, it was easy to find.
True. I don't know why I took you way wrong.
Way
wrong.
Way.
Yeah,
folks.
it's not even like it was like the camp office was in that town.
That's what I was looking for. I was like,
Nothing.
well, maybe there's an office somewhere.
No, there's no reason. You would have ended up in like Don Cherry's little diner thing.
It would be like me punching in to end up at the Bayfield Mall in Barrie, and it's sending me literally to Innisfil.
Wrong.
Totally.
Very wrong.
I actually ended up a little further than that, I think. So we drove around and we found a police officer because they were doing a fun run or something that day.
Well, that was convenient.
That was convenient.
Like, help.
And he kind of explained it to me, and it was really, really tricky.
Oh.
That was the third person who explained it to me.
I'm sorry.
No, don't you? Do you own Google?
If I did, what am I doing here?
What are you doing?
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Oh boy. So anyways, that was just a wake-up call for me, maybe a wake-up call for you. Don't trust it. I should have called Hillary and said, okay, is this correct? Are you really on James Street? But I'd never been to Parry Sound.
It's okay.
I didn't even know.
It's all right. Who could have predicted that? I couldn't have.
But I just proved it that it wasn't my tardiness.
It's okay.
Don't trust Google Maps, folks. Okay.
Glad we dealt with that on air, so I publicly forgive you.
Thank you. Thanks, so.
You're welcome.
All right.
You heard it first.
So, moving along then.
Pressing on. Onward.
Yeah. You've got all your devices. I mean, I've got this device, and now I've got the Android device as well. You've got your phone.
Yes.
Every device kind of likes different types of files and different file formats. And so when I've got something like Category 5 that I've downloaded, here's an episode of the show that I've downloaded from last week. There it is. Cool. I'd love to be able to watch that on my, say, iPod or some other device. Now, I know, of course, I can do that because I can just go to the mobile site, but that's not the example. But is there a way to convert these? And quite often, you see us looking at things like FFmpeg and little complex ways to do it. But tonight I'd like to show you just a nice little GUI that's going to do it very, very easily for you, because occasionally I get the question, what kind of software would you use? And we've looked at a variety before. I'm going to do a search here for WinFF, just like it sounds. And I'm going to mark that for installation. I'm just in Synaptic Package Manager, which, as you know, is an excellent and easy way to install applications in Linux. And of course, this is a Debian-based, Ubuntu-based distribution that I'm on. It gets the files off of the internet, so you don't ever have to go out and find them yourself, as long as you know the name of the program, which is WinFF. All done. So there it goes. So I'm going to bring that up. First of all, I'm going to actually bring up their website just so that you know what it is. I think,
Smart.
Yeah, I think that there are other versions of the software. Like it is workable in Windows as well.
Okay.
There's a Windows version, which is cool for those of you who are on Windows. winff.org. And you'll see, yes, there's a Windows version and an Ubuntu or Linux version. And everything else. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up for the first time. Sound and video, WinFF. All I have to do is just go add, browse to that file. And how easy is this? Highlight it, and you can select any type of file format. Let's zoom in just a little bit for you. So, nice and easy, free software.
Oh, cool.
You can, create DVD files, mobile phone files, Nokia files for specific. WMV, like if you've got an Xbox 360 and you want to put it on there, for example. So in my case, let's say I've got my iPod Touch, so I'm going to actually go to Rockbox. Makes sense, right? And let's find iPod video full screen or widescreen. This is a widescreen video. So there we go. Oh, scroll wheel apparently scrolls through. Okay, so Apple iPod video widescreen. Convert. And there it goes.
Cool.
It was asking me if I wanted to overwrite because I already had a file with that file name.
That is
It's as simple as that.
Good to know.
So that program, WinFF, works for Windows or Linux. It's available in Synaptic Package Manager. You can find it through your software package manager in any Debian, Ubuntu, I believe, distribution. I'm not sure if it's actually on Debian itself. I believe it is, but their website said Ubuntu specifically, so I wonder if it may just be Ubuntu-based, which is what we're on tonight. So, and this is Zorin OS that I'm on. So, good to find a good piece of software like that, though, to be able to convert our videos, not just for using on an iPod, but also sometimes you want to email a video and you want to be able to create a smaller video. So here's software that will allow you to convert it to something that's smaller than, say you've got a big full HD file that's 200 megs. You can't send it by email, so you can press it down to a little 5 meg file. Looks terrible, but it lets you send it across real easy.
Well, just for editing too, because I have some cameras. And they save in the most bogus file type.
Bizarre kind of proprietary stuff.
I don't even know. One's .ccppI or something. Something I can't even figure out how to open it.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there. That is good to know. I'm I'm going to keep that in mind for
There you
my
go.
bogus
so
cameras.
convert it to some kind of good quality format, and you'll be good to go. So
Keep that in mind.
give it a try. WinFF. There's my file. Now, I stopped it, before it was done. But there it is.
It does work.
It works.
Very cool. I like it.
winff.com. Check it out. Hey, chat room, it's nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Loads of people joining us tonight.
What a gang. What a posse we have.
Anybody have any quick questions for us before we wrap up for the night? Lots of suggestions there as well for video production and conversions in the chat room.
I see those.
So I always like to say, check out the chat logs for episode number 260, and you'll be able to follow along even as you're watching the show. I suppose I should have said that at the beginning of the show rather than at the end.
It's okay.
But keep it in mind for next time.
Next time.
If you're watching after the fact, you can actually follow the chat logs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guest Harry wants to know, well, can you improve the quality of your videos? And if you've got a small little video off of a cell phone, you can't very well turn it into an HD video. You can downscale. You can't go up, though.
It'll also be all crazy. Pixelated.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh, wild, crazy pixelation. Yeah.
Not yet, but maybe someday. You just never know what's possible. Technology, Maybe there'll be some bogus...
Creating data where data doesn't exist?
Magnifying glass that creates, Invisidata that's not really there.
Interpolates and recreates pixels.
Who knows? Anything's possible.
Yeah.
After learning about H+, anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I am learning with technology.
Garby saying in the chat room that any re-encoding that you do, you're going to lose quality regardless. Also, once you take it down in quality, you can't gain it back. So do keep that in mind. What you would do is you would create a copy. So your re-encoded file would be the copy that you use for the iPod or for the other device where it's compatible, or to send by email. But don't delete the original.
No.
That would be pointless. That would be like, it's like when you edit a picture. Don't ever save over top of the original file. Always keep the master file. Mm-hmm.
Basic stuff 101.
Yep. And it is true technically that when you re-encode, you're going to lose quality regardless across the board, but in certain different in specific codecs at specific bit rates and everything, you can actually get it so close that your human eye would never know the difference. But it's when you're downsampling, when you're creating something that's smaller or compressed, you're adding compression there, then you're going to get artifacting and stuff. So Led Zepp just reiterating, keep the raw file. Keep that master file for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Maydew says, my wife copies over the originals and then wonders where they've gone. And that, Dave Maydew, is where you, as the good husband, have to have that backup in the closet that you pull out and you say, it's right here, babe. Here, let me just put it right back. And you fix it for her. So do your backups, man. Be the hero. Get her done.
Save the day.
Yeah.
Because you know better.
That you can quote. You could print that on a t-shirt and with Hillary.
I feel like I could have my own line of shirts with all the ridiculous things I say on the show.
That'd be good.
Pull up some past episodes and be like, I don't even know half the dumb things I say. But if I'd like my own t-shirt line, I think that would be cool.
Swiss Andy, who is resting at the moment in bed, says that Be the Hero could be a good t-shirt as well. Be the Hero, Dave Maydew.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to send us presents for the show, the special 5th anniversary show.
Yeah.
Hey!
Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Great to see a busy chat room. It was nice having John here. John Cabrera from H+. Do check out his show.
Do it. It's really good.
cat5.tv/H+. Spelled Plus. Spelled right out, okay? And that's going to take you to their YouTube channel. He was mentioning as well they've got a .com. I believe, I don't want to say it because I don't know it off the top of my head, but what I'll do is I'll put it in the show notes, episode number 260, so that you can follow through with that link and check out some of the additional benefits that they have on that site that he was explaining in the interview. So thanks everybody. Hope you had a fun time. Hillary, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I will see you at the 5th anniversary party.
Oh yeah.
Just a couple weeks away. It's unbelievable.
Crazy, so crazy.
Yep. See everybody. Have a fantastic week.
Bye.
I'll be back next Tuesday night. See ya.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local showtimes in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.